Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Can I kindly ask the brothers to move forward? There's a lot of brothers standing in the back, so if we can fill up the gaps, move forward. This is the sunnah of Rasulullah. Please move forward, fill up the gaps, and make some room for our brothers in the back.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر، الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله تعالى من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهد الله تعالى فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلوات ربي وسلامه عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. أما بعد، يقول الله عز وجل في القرآن الكريم بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم: يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. We praise Him, the King, the Master, the Sustainer, the Creator of the seven heavens and the earth, and we send peace and blessings upon His beloved Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Allah Azza wa Jal warns me and warns you, my brothers and sisters, to not die except in the state of Islam, in the state of submission, to have fear of Allah Azza wa Jal. My brothers, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Malik, He chooses, He has a way, He has a system. And sometimes His choice, His selection may make sense, sometimes it doesn't make sense to you and I, but that's irrelevant. He is the King, He is the Master, He is the one with the ultimate wisdom and knowledge, and He knows. He chooses what He likes, when He likes, where He likes. Allah Azza wa Jal, from the millions and billions of stars and planets and Allahu A'lam what's out there, He chose Earth. From the billions and billions of angels that He created, He subhanahu wa ta'ala, He chose Jibreel to be the greatest of them all. And it has nothing to do with physical size, for there are many angels that are bigger than Him. From all of His creation, subhanahu wa ta'ala, He chose the creation of the human to be the greatest. He selected that there is to be time. The year is to be made of months, and from the months He chose Ramadan to be the greatest of them all. Months are to be made of weeks, and weeks are to be made of days. And he says of the days, the day of the Jum'ah is the greatest day of them all. From the billions and billions of human beings that have come and gone, He subhanahu wa ta'ala, He chose 124 or 125,000 to be the greatest of them all, being the prophets and the messengers. From the 125,000, He subhanahu wa ta'ala chose 5 and said, these are the 5 of power and strength. He chose Isa, Musa, Nuh, Ibrahim, and Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And from the 5, He chose 1. Never mind Him saying that you are the greatest prophet and Nabi. He says, you are the greatest creation of mine. Khayra khalqillah. He chose Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Such a Nabi. In Quran, Allah Azza wa Jal, He addresses His prophets and He gives salams to His prophets. He says, Salamun ala Ibrahim, Salamun ala Nuh. But when He spoke to Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, He said, Inna Allah wa malaikatu yusalluna ala nabi. Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu sallu alayhi wa sallimu taslima. He says in the authentic hadith sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, whoever makes salah on me once, Allah Azza wa Jalla will make salah on you 10 times. Sallu al Habib. What a prophet. Give me your hearts, please, and give me your imagination. Friday khutbah has become the sleeping session. We come, we find the corner that we're cozy with, we fall asleep, wake me up for the prayer. Give me your heart and your imagination. Sahaba, your fathers, they describe Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. They said he had a round face sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, like the moon. He had a large forehead. He had large eyes sallallahu alayhi wa sallam that were jet black. He had high cheekbones, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And his color, subhanAllah, everything about Rasulullah was the middle way. Everything was middle. Sahaba said he was neither tall, neither short. He was of medium height, inclining towards height. It wasn't difficult to look at him. His hair, which was jet black, was neither curly, neither straight. It was wavy. And he grew his hair, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, between his ears and his shoulders. And sometimes for the ibadat, hajj and umrah, he would shave it bald complete. But generally he had long hair. He had long eyelashes. He had arched eyebrows with a gap in the middle. He had bright white teeth. Sahaba described it like hailstones. He had a slight gap between every tooth, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He had a big beard, contrary to what many people think. No, he had a big beard in the authentic narrations. Sahaba said, in fact, it was that big, we could see him when he would read salah, when he would stand for salah, we could see his beard hitting his chest as he would recite Quran. He had a black beard with some grey hairs in it. They said he had a strong, silvery complexion, silvery neck. Sahaba said he had broad shoulders, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Very physically strong. Sahaba said he had some light hair on his chest. Sahaba would describe he had a flat stomach, not like me, a flat stomach. Even in old age, he sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, his stomach never went beyond his chest. And really, why would it? Aisha is describing to her nephew Urwa She says, Wallahi, كان ننظر الهلال. We used to watch the full moon. She says we used to observe the full moon, then the full moon, then the full moon. 2 complete months would pass us by, and not a single flame, no cooking, no boiling of any sort. She says not a single flame would be lit in any of the 9 houses of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam for 2 months straight. So Urwa asked, oh my auntie, how did you people survive? She says, Al-Aswadan, Al-Tamru wal-Ma. We lived off dates and water for 2 months straight. So no wonder he didn't have a big stomach. His wife described that he had some hair, what we call the snail trail. You know, he had some hair coming down his stomach. If he spoke, you heard him. He never spoke too much, he never spoke too little. If he spoke to you, you understood completely. He never stared, he would glance. Sahaba described he was always smiling, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Contrary to what Muslims do today, we're always frowning for some reason. No, he smiled. If he shook your hand, he wouldn't remove his hand until you removed it first. If you called him sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he would never turn his head, he would turn his whole body and address you with his shoulders. Sahaba asked Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, your mother. They said, O mother of the believers, tell us, what was the character of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam? So she said in return, تقرؤون القرآن, do you people read Quran? They said yes. She said he is a walking manifestation of the Quran. Sahaba described him in his akhlaq, in his haya. He had this bashfulness. They described his haya, and listen to the words. They described his haya, his bashfulness, like a virgin woman behind her veil. Today, if you have haya, especially amongst the Arab, and I know, حرام مسكين هذا مدري شو باخ. ما بيحكي مصلوب. ما بيحكي مدري No. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he spoke only when he had to speak. And he had this haya, he had this shyness, this bashfulness. Today we think if you're proud and arrogant that this man is strong. La wallah. And don't get mixed up either. Don't think that because he had haya and bashfulness that the man was weak in any way, shape or form. A'udhu billah. Because the Sahaba, they described Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and these are the men who gave their life. Sahaba are describing Rasulullah and they said, Wallahi, when we were on the battlefield and the fighting got so intense that we couldn't fight anymore. Khalas, we couldn't lift our swords. The fighting was too much. Sahaba got too tired. They said, Wallahi, we would put our armor down, run behind the back of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, just to take a breath of air, just to take a moment of relaxation, while he sallallahu alayhi wasallam continued fighting. The greatest Nabi, the greatest father, the greatest leader, the greatest warrior, the greatest commander, the greatest in every aspect of life, wallahi, is Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Your prophet. And what's more amazing is the love that he sallallahu alayhi wasallam he had for the ummah. Wallahi, my brothers, wallahi, this is not Hollywood, this is not Bollywood. Wallahi, I'm not trying to move your emotions. I'm not trying to impress you with my speech. Wallahi, wallahi, uqsam billah, I take an oath by Allah. Rather, I speak to you because I just want, for once in your life, I want you to really, really, really think and imagine your Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Love, wallahi, no movie, no song, no poem, no Shakespeare, no nothing has ever displayed a love like the love that he sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, never mind what he had for Sahaba. For you and I, Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha in the authentic hadith, she's saying, I was spending the night with my husband. And really, I want you to imagine, put your shoes in the mother of Aisha now. She says, I was spending the night with Rasulullah. He was spending it at my house. And we know Rasulullah was married to 9. So he would see Aisha once every 9 nights. So it's already a rare occasion for her. And Aisha is saying he was spending the night in my house. And very rare, he was always concerned, mahmoom, fikr, concerned. She says he was spending the night in my house and he was smiling, he was in a good mood. Imagine, wallahi, this hadith. So Aisha says, wallahi, I'm so jealous of him. She says, look, he was happy in my house. So she says, hey, why not take advantage of the moment? So she says, oh, Prophet of Allah, can you make dua for me, Aisha? Can you make dua for me? Imagine you had this exclusivity with him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So, of course, being her husband, being the Nabi, being Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, listen to the words. He raises his hands and he makes dua for his wife Aisha, your mother. He says, oh Allah, forgive Aisha. Forgive her past, her present, and her future. Oh Allah, forgive the sins that she knows about and the sins that she doesn't know about. Imagine this dua from Rasulullah. So Aisha, when she hears the hadith, when she heard the dua, she became so happy in the hadith, she chuckled. She giggled. She was so happy. Imagine the happiness. Wallahi, forgive me for using a trivial example. One of us, he buys a new car, and the happiness in his heart, wallahi, he starts driving around Edmonton all day long. He'll visit a friend he hasn't seen in 20 years. Well, I was in the neighborhood, and I thought I'd say hello. Oh, he's a liar. He just wants you to see his car. But because he's so happy, he wants the world to see this little happiness and joy that he has. So Aisha just had the greatest dua made for her, and unfortunately it was in her house, there was no one to see or hear. So, she was laughing so much in the hadith, she fell in the laps of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and he hugged her. So he cuddled her. He says to Aisha, do you like this dua? She says, oh Prophet of Allah, and who wouldn't love such a beautiful dua? He says to her, by Allah, Aisha, this is the dua I make for every member of my ummah after every salah. After every salah, he made this dua for you and I, my brothers and sisters. Towards the end of his life, Sahaba, they seen actions in him, khalas. They sensed that he was leaving us. Have you ever seen someone who dies, or after someone dies, you start living back the last few weeks, you start picking up, like, wallahi, he said things that, khalas, Sahaba, they're seeing actions from him, they got the feeling, Rasulullah is leaving us now. Khalas, Rasulullah is leaving. The hadith is authentic. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he walks into the Baqi', which is the cemetery right next to Masjid al-Nabawi. And Sahaba are with him. And my brothers, again, I want you to imagine you're there. He walks into the Baqi' and makes dua for the dead. Then he turns to the Sahaba and he says something interesting. He says, I long to see my brothers. Sahaba, sure, I long to see my brothers. They're looking at each other. And they said, "O Prophet of Allah, aren't we your brothers?" He says, "No, you are my companions." You know, my brothers, this is my personal feelings, so this is my opinion and I'm entitled to it. My personal feelings when I read the hadith, wallahi, I say to myself, if I was a Sahabi on that day, wallahi, I would have been boiling in anger and fury. What do you mean that I'm a Sahabi and someone else is your brother? If you and I, if you had the choice, would you be the Sahabi of Rasulullah? Would you be his friend? Or do you want to be his brother? Which one do you want to be? Naturally, I would want to be his brother. So Sahaba are amazed. What do you mean, Sahaba, we are your companions? So they asked, "O Prophet of Allah, and who are these so-called brothers of yours?" Meaning, we are the Sahaba. Who are your ikhwan, ashabi? They asked them, "Who are your so-called brothers?" I can't help but feel, that they were a little bit. He says, "My brothers are those who will come after me. They will believe in me though they've never seen me. And one of them will give up everything he owns and all of his family members just to lay his eyes on me. I long to see my brothers." There's a big difference between if I can see him, I wish to see him, I would like to see him, and when I tell you I long to see him. So one of the companions, he says, "O Prophet of Allah," again, I can't help but feel that he wasn't too happy about the situation. He says, "O Prophet of Allah, and how will you recognize these so-called brothers of yours? Nahna, we the Sahaba, you know us by face, by name, we lived with you, we fought with you, we bled with you, we laughed with you, we cried with you, we married, we divorced, we had children. You know us and we know you. But these so-called brothers of yours, how will you know them? How will you recognize them?" Look at the analogy he gives. He says, if one of you had a black horse with a white face and white feet, and you lost this horse amongst a group of pure black horses, would you not be able to recognize which horse is yours? So they said, "Of course, Ya Rasulullah, but mine is the only one with the white face and white feet." He said, "I will recognize my brothers like you recognize your horse. For the markings of the wudu that you make will be shining with nur on the day of judgment." Such a Nabi. Wallahi, such a Nabi, and so much love he had for this ummah. My brothers, forgive me, wallahi, I've traveled almost 30 hours to be here. Forgive me if I take a few minutes beyond your time. Please, wallahi, I'm sure you people have maximum akhlaq and manners. Wallahi, forgive me, just a couple of minutes. The Prophet, he says, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he says, every prophet in dunya, every prophet was given one wish, one dua. In our modern, get out of jail free card. Anytime, any place, he puts it on the table with Allah, Allah answers. Nuh, when he put his card on the table, he said, "Oh Allah, destroy them." Allah sent rain from the heavens and from the earth. He left nothing behind. Isa, when he asked Allah, "Oh Allah, free me for what they intend on doing," Allah Azza wa Jal took him to the heavens and will return him back one day. But he used his card. And the Prophet says, every Nabi and every Prophet used their card in dunya except for me. You know, me personally, I really have a sick mind. Because I can't help but ask, "O Prophet of Allah, why didn't you use your card in dunya? Why?" All of the hardship, all of the trials and tribulations that you went through in your seerah, and you had the chance to use this card and save yourself and save your family from this hardship, yet you held on to it. Why? Are you concerned about yourself, Ya Rasulullah? Are you doubtful that you're not going to enter Jannah? Allah says, Al-Maqam al-Mahmud has been promised to you. Why did you leave the card? What are you holding it on for? Are you concerned about your best friend, Abu Bakr? What are you concerned about? May you said in the authentic hadith, every person who did me a favor, I paid back that favor except for Abu Bakr. I physically can't pay him back. Allah will pay him back on the day of judgment. Who did you leave the card for? Who? Your daughter Fatima? Were you concerned about Fatima, Ya Rasulullah? You said in the authentic hadith, Fatima, you will be the queen of the women of Jannah. Who did you leave the card for? Your Sahaba? Allah says in Quran, I am pleased with them and they are pleased with me. Who did you leave the card for? Wallahi, help me, I'm struggling. I'm struggling to understand. Uhud, in the battle of Uhud, he watched his Sahaba die. He watched his beloved uncle Hamza, never mind he was killed. He was butchered, tortured. He ripped his liver out of his stomach, took a bite and spat it on the floor. When Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, when he seen his uncle Hamza, in narrations, Sahaba said, we never heard Rasulullah cry like he cried for his uncle Hamza. In narrations, he prayed janazah for his uncle 70 times. 70 times he prayed janazah for his uncle Hamza. Until Jibreel came down and said, O Prophet of Allah, relax. It's been written on the arsh of Allah, Hamza Asad Allah wa Rasul. O Prophet of Allah, if you're so concerned and you're so worried, take out this card. Why you got every one of his children, imagine, his sons and his daughters, every one of them except for Fatima, every one of them died in his life. He buried every one of his children except for Fatima, who died 6 months later, and he knew she was going to die 6 months later. But if you're so worried and concerned, take out this card. He says, no, I held on to my card. For what? For who? He says, I held on to it for a day that will come when all of humanity will run to their father Adam. Imagine all of us, that day, 50,000 years long, the sun is 1 mile above your head, you're naked, barefooted, uncircumcised, we're lost, confusion, darkness, heat. That day your mother, your father, your children, your wife, your husband, whatever the case is, everyone will run away from you. Everyone will disown you. People are lost and confused and no one knows where to go. He says, I left it for that day when humanity will run to Adam. And Adam, your father, the Prophet of Allah, will say, get away from me, nafsi, nafsi. I have my own problems today. Get away from me. Go to Ibrahim, go to Noah, and humanity will run to Noah and run to Ibrahim and run to Isa. He says, until eventually they will come to me. And that's the day I will go. I will prostrate before Allah Azza wa Jal. I will praise Him like He's never been praised before. And Allah Azza wa Jal will tell me, Irfa, raise your head, O Muhammad, intercede, and your intercession will be accepted. He says, on that day, at that moment, I will not ask for my daughter. I will not ask for my wives. I will not ask for my companions. That day I will turn to Allah and say, Ya Rabbi ummati ummati. My Rabb, my ummah, have rahmah and mercy on my ummah. All this hardship, and he could have saved himself. He refused to do it because he knew that there will come a people like you and I, who will need every single bit of that card on the day of judgment. He said, I left it for that day when I stand before Allah. أقول قولي هذا استغفر الله. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونصلي على الحبيب محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. Wallahi, my brothers, I don't have time, I haven't given this khutbah justice, wallahi. But I'm sure you got a snippet of the love he had for you, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. I ask you sincerely, not on the tongue. I know on the tongue, Allahu Akbar, we're all scholars, but in the heart. Do you love your Prophet like he loves you? Do you think about your Prophet like he used to think about you? Do you long to see him like he longs to see you? Proof. I don't want lip service. Allah doesn't look at the tongue, Allah looks at the heart. Do you know his name? Do you know his surname, sallallahu alaihi wasallam? Millions and millions of Muslims who claim that they're ready to die for Rasulullah. I'm ready to die for Rasulullah. Before you die, mashallah, come. I just want to ask you, what's his surname? Does he have a surname? What's the name of his brothers and sisters? Does he have brothers and sisters? What's the name of his father and mother? There's always a cowboy who tells me, brother, I know the name of his mother. No, you're missing the point. Do I know him? Do I know his life? Do I know his life? Do I know the names of his wives, the mothers of the believers, your mother? Imagine a child who doesn't know the name of his mum. People always ask, Ya akhi, شو عم بيصير بالدنيا عمي? شو عم بيصير? What's happening in the world? Wallahi, نحن ضايعين and we're confused and we can't. Wallahi, this is a clear dalil. This is a clear proof that you know nothing about your Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If you understood the seerah, if you understood the life of Rasulullah, you would understand what is happening around the world. Every trial and every tribulation you will ever face in your life, you will find the answer and the solution in the seerah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But we know nothing about him. We know nothing about his life. We know nothing about his lineage. When was Salah revealed? When was fasting revealed? When did Allah... Nothing. Yalla, اخدين انه من قال لا اله الا الله محمد رسول الله دخل الجنة. اخدين الحديث وماشيين فيه بالعرض. الحمد لله اسمي احمد واسمي محمد وعظم الله اجركم خلاص وشو صار بدي اكثر من هيك؟ I'm a Muslim, bro. What does it mean? I don't drink alcohol and I don't eat pork. My name's Ahmed. Really? This is your Islam? The more you read about him, wallahi, the more you love him. Allah Azza wa Jal in Quran, Ya Allah, Quran. Not my opinion. I'm not telling you what Shaykh Abu Tanki reckons. Quran, Ya Allah, Quran. In kuntum tuhibbun Allah, if you claim, if you reckon, if you think that you love Allah, in kuntum tuhibbun Allah, fattabi'uni, then follow Muhammad. Follow Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Today we don't follow, we question everything. Brother, did you really have a beard? Do I really need to grow my beard? Do I really need to wear this? Do I really need to pray here? Do I really need to do this? Allahu Akbar, everything we question. I asked one of the mashayikh, I said, what's the difference between us and Sahaba? He said, it's very simple. Sahaba performed every sunnah because it was the sunnah. We leave every sunnah because it's only sunnah. In kuntum tuhibbun Allah, fattabi'uni, then follow Rasulullah to the T. What will happen? Allah will love you in return and forgive your sins. Turn to your Prophet. Learn his seerah. Please, you have holidays now. Grab your son and your daughter and your wife. Sit, Ya Allah, for your sake, for the sake of Allah, open the book. Learn his name, his wife, his daughters, his sons. Where did he go? Learn, teach it to your children. Bring it to life. Your son looks like Justin Bieber. He doesn't look like Mohamed. بعده صغير معلش بعده صغير. Really? Really? Is this the state we've reached? You owe it to yourself. He's your prophet. He says, I long to see you. Rasulullah wants to be with you. He made dua for you 5 times a day. He made dua for you. Wallahi, يعني ما كتير if we learned about him. Wallahi, it's not much. Please, my brothers and sisters, learn the seerah of your prophet. Bring his life into your life and you will see true success. Inshallah, last reminder, the brother made a very important announcement about the salah times. Don't take this issue lightly, please. Don't take the issue lightly. Make sure your calendar is correct. It's according to what all the big mosques have agreed upon, because you could be fasting early, breaking your fast early, and this is obviously a calamity. نسأل الله عز وجل أن يغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات الأحياء والأموات. We ask Allah عز وجل to forgive us, to unite us with Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, to bring his life into our life. We ask him subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us from his companions in Firdaus al-A'la. We ask him to make us of those who never enter the hellfire, never see the hellfire, never smell the hellfire, never hear the hellfire. We ask him subhanahu wa ta'ala to give victory to the believers wherever they're struggling, wherever they're cold, wherever they're suffering. Oh Allah, be with them, protect them, and give them victory, and reunite us on the day of judgment. ونصلي على الحبيب محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليكم. ولصلاتكم الحمد لله.